Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited about today's episode. Obviously, this is the second episode in the new calendar year, and I do hope that your year is off to a phenomenal start, and you're crushing it. And again, I hope these podcast episodes are helping. And obviously, I know how much you all love the interview episodes, and I'm excited about today's interview for a number of reasons. Well, number one, it's something that speaks near and dear to my heart, which is all about sales. You all know that have been listening to this podcast for going into the fifth year, how much I love about teaching sales and the psychology behind it. And we're speaking to someone today that has created something called the Salesology Prospecting Method. But also, this individual is an author, a speaker, a sales trainer, sales coach, and is highly regarded as one of the leading authorities in the lead generation, new business development, and sales space. So this is going to be a jam-packed episode with a lot of golden nuggets and a lot of takeaways, and I am really excited to dig into all of that and more. So with all that behind us, Wendy Weiss, welcome to today's episode.
Well, thank you for having me. Delighted to be here.
So you do a lot, which is, again, a really good thing because you're serving so many people in so many different ways with everything that you have. And before we get into the Salesology prospecting method that you've created, rewinding the tape to the beginning of Wendy's career, what would you say, or, what would you recognize as the catalytic moment for you that turned that light bulb on that said, you know what, I think I found my path and I want to start going down it?
Well, that's such an interesting question, Scott, because the light bulb moment wasn't actually a light bulb. I got into my current field completely by accident. My first career was I danced in a ballet company. I danced with Pittsburgh Ballet Theater and I danced with the Cincinnati Ballet. And like many artists, eventually in between my dance jobs, I needed a day job. And I got a job with a telemarketing agency that did B2B business development. And I was really lucky because when I got that day job all those years ago, they taught me this skill. And learning this skill a number of years later enabled me to build a business. And I feel that just about everything I know in life and in business, I learned in ballet class with the added bonus of learning this very foundational skill of prospecting.
Now, having the really interesting background, because knowing that you teach sales and prospecting and lead generation, people would almost assume, oh, Wendy must have did something in the corporate field, she must have been a sales trainer or something. But to hear that you were a professional ballet dancer that had to do something, it's almost like when you hear the stories of the professional athletes in the 50s and 60s where, the wages that they were making was not nearly anywhere near to what they're making nowadays. So, they would play, a full season, and then in between they would go get a second job working at some of the factories. Now, if you had to think about the experiences that you had in being a professional ballet dancer, what do you feel you learned from a foundational aspect of becoming a professional ballet dancer that really primed you for really digging into everything that you're doing now with your current business?
That's such a wonderful question, Scott, because the training that I got as a ballet dancer is actually foundational to the prospecting method that I teach. And this is what I learned in ballet class. If you are a dancer, you don't just run out on stage and start dancing. You have to warm up, because if you don't warm up, you risk a career-ending injury. Professional athletes, they do exactly the same thing. They don't just run out on the field and start playing the game. They have to warm up so they don't hurt themselves. So if you're an entrepreneur, there's certain things you need to have in place for your warm up so that you don't hurt yourself and you don't hurt your bottom line. Next, the next thing I learned in ballet class, if you have a concert that's coming up, again, you don't just run out on stage and start dancing. You've been rehearsing for months. Ballet dancers, we take class every single day. And a ballet class has a certain set order. You always do the same steps in the same order every single day, 5 or 6 days a week. And when you do the same steps in the same order every single day, you get muscle memory, which is automatic memory. You just do the same thing over and over again until you don't have to think about it. You can just execute. And the same is true for any entrepreneur that sells. You need to have the muscle memory. You can't be making it up new every single time. And then the third thing I learned in ballet class, because this is my 3-step Salesology prospecting model. First, you warm up, then you rehearse. You warm up so you don't hurt yourself and your bottom line. You rehearse so you have that automatic muscle memory. Then, and only then, is it time to perform. And what enables performance? Well, you've warmed up, so you're prepared. And you've rehearsed, so you have the automatic muscle memory. That's what enables you to perform. That's what I learned in ballet class.
I love the analogy because it is so true that, you know, as an athlete, and again, I can understand because I used to do competitive bodybuilding. So, you know, when I would go and start lifting, I wouldn't go and grab the 100-pound dumbbells right away. I would do some progressive warm-up sets. I would grab the 25s and just loosen everything up. And then progressively, as the blood started pumping, as everything got warmed up, then my body was then primed and ready for performing. And the same can be said for business. And, you know, for me, everything that I teach and I come foundationally back to are a lot of the things that I learned in being in the fitness industry, being a personal trainer and a sports nutritionist, which is repetition. You know, you can't get results without repetition, creating a routine. So I knew exactly what body part I was doing on what specific day. So I created that routine for myself so I wouldn't fall off, but also being consistent, because consistency creates that compounded effect. When you look at someone's body that's in shape or that's a ballerina and they're able to do all the things that they're doing, that didn't happen overnight. That is hours and hours and hours and years of preparation to get to that point. And the same thing can be said for becoming really good at sales. People ask me all the time, you know, how are you so good at sales? How are you? Well, it's been 25 years. I was selling gym memberships at 19 years old, and I'm going to be 44 in April. So you're talking about 25 years of repetition and practice, right? And understanding that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So you have to listen more and talk less. So with the Salesology prospecting method that you created based on what you learned as a professional ballet dancer, how did that all come to fruition where you're like, you know, you had this, you know, this other job outside of it, you were learning all these strategies and techniques, and there must have been a moment where you're like, wow, this is just like what I do as a professional dancer. I could take those same core principles of warming up, practicing, and performing and teach other people how to get better at sales. So how did that process end up working out?
Well, I did that day job for a while, and then actually I quit because I got a dance gig, and then I needed another day job, and at that point I said to myself, well, I know how to prospect. I'll just get myself some clients, and I did. So for a number of years, I had clients that I represented that I did business development for. I was still dancing, but I also had my clients, and somebody said to me one day, you should write a book on how you do this, because my clients couldn't believe I got so many appointments for them. Actually, one of my first clients dubbed me the queen of cold calling because I got so many appointments and opportunities for him. And so I said, okay, I'm going to write a book. And I started thinking about it and outlining it and everything. And I realized as I was putting together all the pieces for this book, getting it down on paper made me realize what I was doing and how it related to what I had learned in ballet class. And my first book actually was called Cold Calling for Women, Opening Doors and Closing Sales. It had a big pink phone on the cover, came out in 2020. And that's actually how I launched my sales training business. Salesology is that we are sales trainers, um, because in the process of writing this book and kind of codifying everything, and some of my clients would ask me, well, can you teach me how to do what you're doing? And that's how it all came about.
I love this entrepreneurial side of you because, my wife and I are friends with a lot of artists, whether they're performers like yourself or, glass blowers, where my wife, her family lives in South Jersey. There's a prominent glass blowing studio community. And, some of these people also have that entrepreneurial bug in them. Where did your entrepreneurial bug come from? Because there's a lot of people that kind of just would have stayed in that realm of being a performer, having an, odds and ends job on the side just to kind of, get some other income coming in, but not you. There was an entrepreneurial spark there. What enabled that to happen, that pushed you in this direction that you're now in?
That's such an interesting question because the life of a professional dancer, the career is quite short, especially a ballet dancer. So I reached a point, I kept getting injured. Um, I kind of danced till I couldn't walk. I needed a hip replacement. So I had to start thinking about what could I do? If I'm not going to dance, what can I do? And I realized that I knew how to do this thing that people were asking me, can you teach me how to do this? And that was actually the spark that started me writing the book, because if I was going to teach somebody how to do it, I had to figure out what I was doing. And that was kind of the spark that led to me writing the book and starting the sales training consultancy.
So what's one of the, as we start to kind of wind down a little bit, what do you feel is one of the most misconstrued or biggest gaps that a lot of professionals have when it comes to prospecting the right way, closing sales, generating leads, that if they really understood this aspect of creating income for their business, they would have a much easier and enjoyable time growing their business?
Well, one of my, actually, I would say is probably my biggest pet peeve is this myth of the born salesperson, that somehow there are people out there that are just born knowing what to do and knowing what to say. And this is such an insidious myth. It does such a disservice. And I hear it from entrepreneurs that say, oh, well, I'm not a born salesperson. I can't really sell. I hear it from clients that are managing sales teams. Well, I hired someone. I think they're going to do pretty good. So they don't, I'm just going to teach them everything about what we're selling, but they don't need any training. They're a born salesperson. There is no such thing. I'm not a born salesperson. I'm a really lucky person because when I got that day job all those years ago, they taught me this skill set. Learning this skill set enabled me to build a business. It was transformational. You, Scott, you were just talking about how you learned sales over a 25-year career. So the great Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova, she danced in the late 19th and early 20th century. She said, "No one arrives from talent alone. Work transforms talent into genius." Anna Pavlova, she was a world famous dancer, danced all ballet, Russian Imperial Ballet, Ballet Diaghilev. She was the first ballerina to tour the world with her own company. She was born with a whole lot of talent to dance. And then she trained at the Imperial Russian Ballet School so she could learn her craft. Learning her craft enabled her to do all the things that she did in her life. So for all of the entrepreneurs that are listening to this thinking, well, I'm not a born salesperson, you know what? Nobody's a born salesperson. It's okay. You can learn.
Everybody has, I would say, talent in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
The basketball stars, the baseball stars, the chefs. Something draws you towards a specific something, right? Even the gamers, the kids that are professional gamers nowadays. If you think about it, anyone that has mastered their craft has mastered that craft by repetitive practice over and over and over again. And the same thing can be, anyone can learn anything and be the master of anything that they want. And that's why I love life, because success and mastering a craft doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, indifferent, old, young, indifferent. You can learn at any age to be the master of any craft that you want to, if you're willing to do the work and put in the time in order to achieve that. So I love everything that you said, because it is a myth. The fact that, well, I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at talking to people. Well, the more people you talk to, the better you're going to get at talking to people. We have the answers to all of our questions and to all of our problems. They're right in front of us. So if you keep pushing it to the side and ignoring it, of course, it's not going to get better. It's only going to stay where it is or get worse. So I love everything that you said. So let's talk about the Salesology prospecting method. The ways that you work with people. I know you have a free gift for everyone that's listening today. It's the 81 tools to grow your sales and your business faster, more easily, and more profitably. So let's talk about the Salesology prospecting method, how people can find out about it, but also what they are going to learn with this free gift that you're giving the audience today.
Wow. Thank you for asking. The free gift, the 81 tools to grow sales and your business faster, more easily, and more profitably, started out because we had a lot of clients that would ask us, well, Wendy, what do you use to do this? And what do you use to automate that? And how do you do this other thing? And we started putting a list together and just passing it out to our clients. And we ended up with 81 tools that you can use to grow sales and grow your business. You don't have to read through the whole guide. You just go to the section if you need help with sales automation, if you need help with posting on social media, whatever it is, whatever tool you're looking for, just go to that section in the guide and you'll find information on tools that we recommend. We've vetted everything, and you'll be posting that link with the show notes. Yeah. So the link will be, click on the link in the show notes. And you can also find out more about Salesology. Our website is gosalesology.com. You can also call me. I am a phone person. 866-220-4242. I bet I'm the first person that ever gave out a phone number on your podcast. Am I right?
I think you are. And again, someone has to be a groundbreaker in some way, shape, or form. So I'm glad it's you.
And last but never ever least, please do listen to our podcast, Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. And you can find that podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We are everywhere. So there are a lot of ways that you can find us.
Awesome. So all that information that Wendy shared, as she mentioned, will be in the description of this episode. So you're not going to have to travel too far. And if you're someone that does want to learn how to improve your sales skills, absolutely download the free resource that she's gifting to all of you guys today. But if you want to take this step further, learn more from her, subscribe to her podcast, check out her website so you can learn more from there. So Wendy, final question before we sign off. What does success truly mean to you?
Wow, that's a great question. Success, it's kind of two things. There's the success of just being able to do what I want to do, which is lovely. And I also really enjoy working with my clients and seeing the transformation that takes place, because this really is life-changing. For someone to go from, I don't know how to talk to people, I'm really scared of talking to people, I got to sell something, but I don't know how, to just being really comfortable and confident and being able to reach out and engage. It's an amazing journey, and it's so transformational. It happened to me, and all those years ago when I got that day job, and it's a great pleasure to be able to share that and to see my clients change and grow their businesses.
It's what it's all about. Again, it's having that time and life freedom to choose what we want to do when we want to do it. But there's nothing that feels better than knowing that you've created something that is helping someone else succeed. And, my wife and I can completely attribute to everything that we've created, because everything that we do is to help other people succeed the way that we have, just the way that you are. So Wendy, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today. Loved everything that we talked about, and just really grateful for you and your connection and everything that you shared in today's episode.
Well, thank you so much, Scott. This was just really a wonderful interview, and I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you too, and thank you for the kind words. And for all the listeners, as always, wherever you're listening to this to and from, please leave us a rating and review. Please also let us know what did you love about the episode, or what did you love about the podcast in general? And are there any topics that you want us to discuss? I'm connected to a lot of people, as you guys know. So if there's any specific areas that you're looking to learn outside of what I teach, let me know so I can bring those people on. So everyone, please enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you everyone for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.